EV1, Thomas Pesquet, comes out first, followed by EV2 Shane Kimbrough. Thomas translates up to the front face of the truss and translates outboard. Thomas is setting up what we refer to as safety tether anchors. At this point, he'll drop the anchor point for both he and Shane. Shane will be retrieving an articulating portable foot restraint and putting his stowage bag onto it for translation outboard. The other handling aid is removed, the final hinge restraint bolt is loosened, and iROSA is now able to rotate into its fully deployed, fully extended position. The two crew members work together to swing it into the single tube. Once it is in position, Shane stows the two handling aids. Thomas gets into position to drive the hinge bolts. These two bolts hold the two halves of the iROSA solar array into a single tube. These bolts are delicate pins, so the final torque to get them into position is done with a hand tool so that we don't over-torque those bolts. Once that's in place, there are 8 mounting bolts that hold all of the iROSA solar array onto the mounting bracket. Thomas will drive the first 4, followed by Shane driving the second set of 4. Shane and Thomas will work together to install the electrical cables that hook up to iROSA. One set goes to the right side and the other set goes to the left side, and they are finally hooked up in place on the legacy solar arrays. That's done during eclipse. After those cables are installed, the crew gets into position to drive the final 2 bolts that are holding iROSA in the pre-deployed position. Once these 2 bolts have been driven, iROSA is free to extend itself into its deployed position. After the crew's verified that the solar array is in the right position and it's fully deployed, they drive 2 tensioning bolts. This allows the sail to be tensioned into its final configuration. Once iROSA has been fully deployed, there are some checkout steps that are performed to make sure that everything is hooked up correctly, and the crew cleans up the worksite. They retrieve the handling aids and the pistol grip tools, and they prepare for the second EVA in the series. To do this, they take their foot restraints and move them to the other side of the P6 truss structure. This will be the worksite for the second EVA. Each crew member has their own foot restraint, and they'll move them to the other side. The crew repositions the stowage bag that's holding the other set of cables to the other side of the truss, pre-positions it for the next EVA. The crew will do an inventory of all their tools and their hardware, then they'll start their path back to the airlock. On their way back, they'll stop at the carrier, pick up the last crew lock bag and the last pistol grip tool, and make their way inboard. Shane will enter the airlock, followed by Thomas, and that ends the EVA.